Hi, it's Madam again. Here I am in my she shop, and I have fish over there. I don't know if you can see them, but they're flashing. But I have goldfish now. So, just a little something, something to make things exciting. I do love fish. Anyway, tonight we have a special guest. Her name's Nellie Mack, and she is a local witch, not too far from where I am. And she has just a fabulous, uplifting story of just overcoming obstacles to become the person that you want to be, and just a little bit of a testimony to what is really possible. So I'm going to bring her on, and here we go. Hey, how's it going? Let's see.
Good. How are you?
This way. I'm going to go this way to get in.
There you go.
I'm good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah. So when did you decide that you were a witch?
Well, I think it was about 3 years ago now. Well, my husband and I were in a very strict religion, and it just kind of became unbearable because I knew there was more out there, and I was having like spiritual experiences, and you know, as I just researched more and more, I was just pulled in by the term shaman, and then next thing it was witch, and it was like I realized that it only meant wise woman, right? Like
Yes.
it isn't like these evil people who are going around and
Mhm.
hexing and cursing people. Of course, though I know
No.
some people do that, but it's about who you are inside, right? It's about your
Yes, it is.
spirituality and expressing yourself and
Mm-hmm.
finding your inner magic. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's when it
Well, and
started
just
about 3 years.
realizing that magic is real,
Mhm.
and it really can happen in your life,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. So,
Hmm.
so tell me about when you were growing up in the church and stuff, and what happened.
Well, we started out in just a pretty regular church, and then we finally moved into a Quaker church, which was like the women had their hair up. You couldn't wear jewelry. The women had to have long sleeves and skirts that touched the floor, whatever.
Oh wow.
And there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And then as we moved through that, then even when my husband and I got married, we were very strong Baptists, and
Hmm.
just had a lot of those if I don't do this, I'm going to hell, and God's going to judge me, and it was fear.
Hmm.
So there was just there was actually just a lot of even just like spiritual trauma that we
Oh wow.
experience in those things.
Uh huh. And a lot of people get like church PTSD, you know,
Hmm.
because they are forced to do things that they just are not comfortable with.
Yeah, like I remember being forced to like do daily devotionals every morning,
Hmm.
and it just wasn't me. Like I believed in a higher power,
Hmm.
and all of that, but it really didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Did they use the King James version of?
Only King James. Yep.
Yeah. That's I told a reverend not too long ago that I viewed that as a work of fiction, and that it was not necessarily the word of God. It was the word of King James, and he was sort of a lunatic, and so I couldn't get on board with that, and that was kind of what hung me up. Was I said I couldn't get on board with that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus might have been a great guy, and he probably was, or he wouldn't have been talked about this long. Um, but aren't we all children of God? I
Yeah.
kind of feel like we are. So,
Yeah, I feel like they took his teachings and they hijacked them for
yes.
something special, what they wanted. Like I totally
Hmm.
look at him as a brother now. Like I'm
Hmm.
like we're the same. He said what
Hmm.
he did, we can do and more, right?
Oh yeah,
But
for sure.
it wasn't about sin. It wasn't about judgment.
No.
He came to just show love, and they twisted
Yeah.
everything that he said to suit the
Yep.
Catholic Church, basically. So
Yeah. And that's the thing. The church has twisted the words of God, to suit their own purpose, and it's
yeah.
just not. I'm not comfortable with that either, and yeah, it's just something that I can't get behind, and with witchery, we call it witchery, um, is it's sort of up to you, what you do and how you practice it, and it's very individualized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have an altar and?
Well, I usually do. Like, so we're
Uh-huh.
getting ready to move, so everything's packed up. But I have multiple places where, I've got well, my husband, he works with Merlin, and so I've got multiple Merlin statues and dragons. We put
Oh,
all over
nice.
the house, and then I have like oh, I have a Freya. I have a Freya statue. I love Freya, and
Freya.
so
Okay.
we have like no, we just have generally we have stones sitting everywhere. Kind of like our whole house is the altar,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I have altars here and there, and all kinds of different sacred spaces, here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta, and especially if you have kind of a big house, because it's just like sometimes you feel like being outdoors, or sometimes you feel like
Right.
being upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very individualized, and I love that, about being a
Mm-hmm.
witch. Even if you're in a coven, it doesn't mean that you can't practice individually,
Right.
and the thing with, I think introspection is a big deal, for witches, and you can't really do that in a group setting.
No, no, yeah, I get that. Because literally, like, I just started a coven. And
Oh.
and like it's wonderful. Like, we're gonna have our first meeting in July, but I
Uh-huh.
also know that most of my magic is just still going to be done
Yeah.
in my home, right? Because that's where we
Right.
have the most privacy, and we really
Oh
can
yeah.
work on, like our strong intentions.
Yes, I agree. And it is, I mean, sort of a private thing when you're really like working a spell or you're working things, it is
Yeah.
kind of private.
Mm-hmm.
I might even cry sometimes. I get so
Yeah.
worked up and emotional over the things that I'm doing, or like just giving things up to God, more or
Right.
less. Like
Mm-hmm.
shedding negative energy and things like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
'Cause you really have to let go of things. And how
Yep.
did you ever kind of come to terms, and how were you able to let go? I mean, did you do a spell? Did you?
Um, well, I do a lot of healing. Okay. So like I find, like, for me, I use my magic to work with specific energies to help me let go.
Mhm.
So like I actually write spells, and I call them codes, and I may do it on one on trauma or
Mhm.
self-esteem or self-worth, and I
Mhm.
I just make all different ones. And I have my huge massive spell book, and I have like all these little ones, and I write them, and then I place them on crystals so that they're running on continually. So I'm like totally always getting like that ability to. I don't know, have you ever heard of like the gold and silver violet flame or the
Mhm.
violet flame? Yeah, I
Mhm.
I work with that extensively because that is so strong. It's alchemy. It's pure alchemy, right?
Can you explain
Clearing.
more about that? I don't know that I'm real familiar with it.
Okay, so it was Saint Germain, and he's an ascended master, and he came through in the last, I'm thinking 100 years is what it was, with the violet flame. And so the violet flame is a literal flame that we invoke, and it goes down like even in between your cells, where the dark matter is, like between all of your cells and everything, and it literally like transmutes it.
Okay.
It clears the karma, it clears all the entanglements and things like that. And so it's just really good at just clearing anything and everything. And so then I upgraded to the gold and silver violet flame, which was given to us, um I think like in the last 40 or 50 years, maybe it was 1940s. And it actually like mixes the gold flame and the silver flame with the violet flame. And so while it's transmuting and alchemizing, it lifts you into the fifth dimension and holds you there for that higher vibrational energy to heal and to assist in just letting go of everything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's totally cool. I did like a spell, and I wrote down stuff that I needed to let go of, and and then you burn it and you cleanse and all that, So it was like a full moon ritual kind of thing.
Right.
To cleanse and just rid myself of a lot of negative energy and baggage that I was carrying around,
Mhm.
and it worked really well. I mean, I felt a lot lighter,
Mhm.
since then, and I try not to worry about it at all, but occasionally your mind will drift back to it, and then I just shut it down. Nope,
Right.
not thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually do that. Like if I get together with somebody or even just feel pulled to doing like the moon ritual, I'll write
Mhm.
stuff down and I like to burn it and then throw the ashes on my fairy garden or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you commune with the Fae?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
cool.
actually worked with it quite a bit.
Oh, nice. One of our other skeleton key witches, Jess, she works with the Fae as well,
Mm-hmm.
and she her goddess is the Morrigan.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
mine is Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Lilith was an independent woman, and I think they villainized her
Oh, they
honestly.
did. Yeah.
And I think she just didn't want to conform, and she didn't think that Adam was any better a leader than she was,
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I admire that independent spirit in women, and so that's kind of like my patron.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I prayed to Hecate and a couple others yesterday, so
Mm-hmm.
um, did a little spell, mostly like karmic,
Mm-hmm.
like oh, now it's your turn to enjoy the crap you sent everyone else.
Right.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really my thing. If you are treating people like crap, then expect that some crap's going to come your way, because it's what comes around goes around. It really is.
Yeah.
And the old children's rhymes really are true. It's I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, and it's really effective, like sending people's energy back.
yes,
Like
it really is.
because like just even when my husband and I when we were just starting our spiritual journey, um, we were like just being attacked by somebody and like we were pretty new to this. We were like, what's
Mhm.
going on? And then we found out like it came to us that it was a specific family we were going to church with still, and he was from Kenya and his family was into voodoo.
Oh,
And our van kept having everything go wrong with it. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, this, and we almost wrecked. I'm like, there is someone is sending a curse.
oh no.
And so we just looked at each other and we said, well, this was our first time. We're like, well, we're going to
Hmm.
send any energy coming to harm us back 100-fold. And don't you know, it was not but a week later, we were sitting there in church and they had a phone call that was urgent. And they said that that specific family was in a car wreck and they all nearly died. And he
Wow.
and I looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, we've got to be careful sending back energy that
Mhm.
strongly.
Yeah.
It
Well,
can't be 100-fold.
yeah, and you can't you you would feel bad, I think, if
Yeah,
something super bad happened. I mean, mostly it's for me it's nothing bad will happen to you as long as
right.
you act like a decent human being.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
start not acting like a decent human being, prepare to eat shit.
Right?
Oh
Yeah.
Lord. And that's, I think, bottom line. Don't fuck with witches. Just leave them alone. Go about
Right.
your business. You don't have to. Nothing to see here. Just keep
Right.
walking, and
Just leave
just
us
don't
alone.
bother us. It's like
Yep.
what kind of. It just keeps poking at the bear. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I've tried to I have self control, and I said, my friend and I said, lucky we didn't know we were witches. Like when we were teenagers, we
Right.
didn't have enough self control.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, then what kind of witch do you consider yourself then?
Well, I've kind of termed myself just a galactic witch because I like in my energy healing and stuff, I work with a lot of very higher angelic and ascended master beings.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I just kind of include everything in the galaxy because there's nothing I won't work with,
Uh-huh.
and most of the time when I'm channeling and doing like light language healings, I'm working with and I'm talking like galactic races, like our brothers and sisters who are out there in space, right? Who've
Right.
ascended before us, right? Like the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the Council of, the White Brotherhood and things like that. That's a lot of what I work with when I'm healing. So that's why I just figured Galactic Witch kind of covered it all.
Do you think healing then comes from above? Then comes from like this extraterrestrial kind of place?
I think it comes from everywhere. Like
Okay.
I believe that, like even like spirit animals,
Mm-hmm.
like they reside in the spirit realm
Mm-hmm.
or the other world, right? Just as well. But they're still considered, like, to me, they're more of an earthly tethered energy.
Mm-hmm.
But I work with them all the time too. So I think that there's just like different levels of vibrational energy, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And so I think it's all valid. I think it's all beautiful. Like I've just like recently been called to like work with the dark goddess, like Morrigan and Hecate and Circe and Pele, all of those, they would be considered very like more dense transformational energy, but
Right.
it's valid. It has a transformational aspect for us.
Well, and I think it's kind of like embracing your dark side.
Mm-hmm.
You have to embrace the shadow, in order to be whole. And sometimes your shadow self is not your favorite self. It's,
Right.
can be a bit intense.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you need these darker forces to serve your shadow side,
Right.
So,
Well, and like another thing like that they've been like speaking to me about is that like I believe like these periods in history when like the world was shaken, like when Rome fell, Rome was ruled by men. It was falling apart, and then you look at like the chaos that ensued. That was the dark goddess coming through and shaking up, saying stuff has to change, right? Just like we're going
Right.
through now.
Yeah. I'm serious. Things are really on the brink of change right now, and it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Big change.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be rougher before it's gonna get better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just all kind of stick together and and make sure the witches are all good.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I think I really like our network, the Skeleton Key Network, because we are by witches for witches.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not too many places like that. So
yeah,
it's a good place to be. So
Well,
welcome.
thank you.
I'm glad you're here. So tell me, you said you have a podcast. What's your podcast about?
Well, just right now it's just been about like I have guest speakers who may like be a psychic or an animal communicator, and they just like give a talk about their journey, like how did they come into their gifts, how did they sharpen their gifts, because I have a lot of people who follow me on Facebook who they're all like wondering how can I do this,
Right.
and I like to give them like a lot of things just to like show them the way and make it like easy. And then sometimes I do like spirit animals. I talk about how we work with spirit animals, and stuff like that. It's not been something that I've been too religious about doing. I've just had so many things going on, but I'm hoping to like really expand it and make sure that I'm probably doing like 2 podcasts a month or something, but
I do 3 a week.
Oh, wow.
I'm fairly prolific, but it's just my thing. I like doing it, and I enjoy so much talking to people, and getting to know people. And I've talked to people like Jeremy York, who started the Things Network, and and just some fabulous people. Greg Becken, he does the spirit box, ghost
Hmm.
box, and that is just so interesting to me. I would love to like talk to spirits, because they know where we're gonna go,
Right.
and I would like to know that. I
Right.
mean, wouldn't it give you just a little peace of mind to know that what was waiting for you on the other side? You
Yep.
know, that's kind of where
Hmm.
I'm at right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm at an age where, I know it's going to come, probably sooner than later. And I just would like to have little comfort knowing what I'm up against.
Right.
But I think that you manifest your own heaven, just like you
Hmm.
manifest your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you're pretty good at manifestation. When you wanted something, you went for it and you got it.
Hmm.
So talk about a little bit about that, your home search, when you decided you were getting out of that town.
Well, I guess like even at the beginning of our spiritual journey, we began manifesting perfect house for our family. So we have 5 kids. We're living in a
That's a lot.
very small
I knew you
house
had
right now.
5. That's a lot.
Yeah. So we're in a very small house right now, and just like, trying to manifest the money to pay off some debt so that, you can get a better house and things like that. And
Mhm.
so that's been like a huge thing with my husband and I, is manifesting that. And I think what in the last 2 years we paid off over $40,000 in debt, I think
Wow,
is what we've done.
that's
Some of that
incredible, you
manifesting,
guys. Congrats.
some of that manifesting change, it came through by changing the world or the severance.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was just that was a big thing for us. So then we just started telling the universe, well, this is what we want in a house, and we got very specific.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes, you have to be very specific with the
yes,
universe.
yeah, and
Yeah, they have a rotten sense of humor.
right, right, yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
want I didn't want stuff with a lemon. I wanted what
Right.
we really wanted. And so then, um, well, right before COVID hit, my husband and we had planned a second honeymoon to Scotland and Ireland. Like we were going to
Oh, how
go
fun.
see all of it, right?
Uh-huh.
And a month before we left on our trip, COVID hit, and all of our plans got canceled.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, well, we want to get out of this town because, like, there's not a lot of, I don't know, it's very, they're not accepting of people who
Yeah.
believe differently. You know what I'm saying? They look at you weird.
Yes. Yeah.
And I needed to get away.
Small towns are like that usually. There's
Yeah,
one church, that's it.
yeah, exactly. And I needed to get away from my family. And I was just like, I told my husband, like, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get away from the control. I've got to get away from the old stories. Everywhere I
Mhm.
turn around, I see something that reminds me of the old life and what's
Yeah.
everybody's trying to pull me back into. And so my husband works for the government. So we decided we were going to move to the UK.
Oh, there you go.
So we started looking for a job. And I know just with COVID, it was just super hard. And
Yeah.
so everything just kind of fizzled out, and we just looked at each other and we're like, well, maybe it's just time to find a house closer to his job
Mhm.
and make it happen. So we put our house up for sale, and it sold within a month and a half.
I think that was right
And
about the time we met.
yeah, that was when we put it up. And
Yeah.
I was looking on this, like the for sale by owner sites, and I came across this house. It had just been listed like 3 days before.
Oh.
And I said to my husband, I'm like, this is the perfect house.
Mhm.
Like, there could not be a better house for us. And I'm like, but I said to him, I says, we could never afford it, and it won't be for sale still by the time we, get ours sold.
Mhm.
Well, we put an offer in, and, just a contingent offer, and they accepted it. And
Wow.
we found out later that they had received a couple other offers, but they were less than the offer we had put as a contingency, so they passed them up.
Ah.
And so I just literally told the fairies, I'm like, listen, if that's the house that we are supposed to have,
Mhm.
you guys have to just keep it safe for me. And I just
Mhm.
kept believing. And
Yeah.
so everything fell into place, and we sold our house, and we are getting ready to move into that one at the end of this month. And it has a half acre of woods behind it.
Oh, how
So
nice.
we're gonna clear out in the middle, and I want to put a stone circle,
Uh-huh.
and I want to make little like shrines all through the trees.
Oh, that's neat.
Like,
And then
you know,
and you can
put
have this little wooded area that's like
yeah,
kind of sacred,
yeah,
sacred woods. That's neat.
yes, yes. So, you know, everything that we asked for, we asked the universe for,
Uh-huh.
except for the big bathtub. Everything else is there. You know, that's how
Yeah.
specific it was, except just for
Wow.
one little thing. And I just
all
told my husband,
there.
I'm not going to complain.
No, you can add that.
Yeah.
Add that yourselves.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's so great. I'm glad that it's just what you wanted. 'Cause,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that you've had a tough road, and that's a great. I just think of the rainbow going over the house on your post. You know, like
Yeah.
you just got. I mean, you're the witch that got to the end of the rainbow. You know, and it's
Yep.
just it's really makes me feel good. You know, it fills me with positive energy to see you so
Right.
happy. You know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So then on your podcast, do you guys ever do like live spells or anything like that, or
Um, Not on my podcast. Now, I like do many things. Okay. So I have a podcast, and I have my healing website where I sell my codes. And then I also have like a members group where I share like 3 different things a month. One will be a light language healing and some kind of activation. And then
Mhm.
I share a spell. So
Yeah.
each of my members, they get a spell, and it can be like a crystal grid
Uh-huh.
or, you know, just different things like that. Like I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
get people more aware that it's super simple
Yeah.
to just grab some crystals. And even if you don't have a grid, you
Uh-huh.
can put them on your table
Yes.
and you can grid them, right?
Yeah.
You just got to start.
Well, and the thing of it is, you kind of just do what feels right, you know. And you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about crystals and you know rocks and herbs and all kinds. What you kind of just do what feels right, you know.
Right.
There are some like you know particular things that you can use for a particular outcome,
Right.
but I think overall it's what feels good, you know.
Right.
Like witches are the kind of people that pick up a rock and put it in a seemingly random space. But
Right.
it's not. It's the place where it felt like it needed to be and you had to put it there.
Yes. Yes.
And I know some people think it's odd, but it's just a witch thing, you know.
Yeah. We just know. Yep.
See, I have a druzy. We're talking about crystals. I have a druzy that I
Mm-hmm.
got as a gift, and I've been wearing it for self healing. You know,
Yeah. Mhm.
because I've had like this sinus thing going on forever, and
Yeah.
and I think it's better. I think it's a lot better since I've been
Mhm.
wearing the druzy. So, yep, as a gift.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's pretty.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about crystals. They're pretty.
They are. And they seem to come into our life when we need them.
That's
You know?
true. Isn't that funny how like things will just sort of show up when you need them? It reminds me of the story of the wishing tree, where the man he is walking in the desert and he sees this tree and he sits down in the shade. And he's like, "Boy, I wish I had something to eat. I'm really hungry." And he looks over and there's a tray of dates, you know. And,
Mhm.
and he says, "Wow, that's really cool." So then he's like, "Wow, now I'm really thirsty." And he looks over here and he says, "You were of water. Wow, okay." And so then he's like really tired after that. So he lays down to take a nap and he dreams that monsters came and ate him. And so then when he wakes up, he's like, "Oh my God, monsters came to eat me." And of course, monsters came and ate him. So because he wished it on himself.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the thing, you know, life is what you make of it. And you know, honestly, the Lord does provide. You know, if you're in tune with things, you know, and you're looking around. I think
Mhm.
for a long time I didn't look. I looked around, but I didn't see.
Right.
Did you ever feel like that?
Yep.
Like you were living in the Matrix or something, and you woke up finally?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people describe their spiritual awakening.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's like
Yep.
just it's weird. What in the hell were we doing before that?
We were just existing then.
Just walking around in a daze,
Yep.
you know, and you're participating in life, but you're not really doing anything, I don't think. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're not
Yep.
getting in touch with yourself. You're not, grounding. You're not thinking of a higher power. I don't know if it's an age thing or just a maturity thing. What do you think?
I think it can be both. I honestly feel like the consciousness of the whole earth has just risen so much in the last 2 years that I think so many people, whether they wanted to wake up or not, it's happening,
Yeah.
right? And
Do you
so I
think it's
just think
because we broke from the church?
that's a huge beginning for a lot of people when you just start seeing the inconsistencies,
Mhm.
when you see that it's all just a way to,
Brainwashing?
yeah, it's brainwashing, and it's a way to keep you following, right? Just
Mhm.
following along and doing what they
Yep.
say.
Tithing,
And
you know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
I
I
think
just,
they just wanted us to be conformists. You know, they wanted us to conform
yes.
to social,
Mm-hmm.
standards, and then they can control us that way.
Yeah,
They can't control
exactly.
witches.
No, no, you can't. I mean, even if a woman doesn't, a person doesn't know they're a witch, like, because I just saw the other day, like, it was a post commemorating the very first woman to be hanged in Salem as a
Oh yeah.
witch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that? And that she was
Yeah.
never even accused of witchcraft.
Right.
She drank and she
Mm-hmm.
wore red clothes and she owned taverns and she
Yes.
spoke her mind.
Yep.
That's what she was hanged for.
And then another lady was just a homeless lady, and one was like mentally ill, So I mean,
Hmm.
they just really did it to just kind of get rid of the people
Yeah,
they didn't want around. And it's sad that the government can do that to you now. I
they
mean,
can.
they can get rid of people that they don't want around. And it's
Hmm.
scary. It's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I do think that everything is accelerated. And I know that, like, I think that COVID was horrible. I think everybody can agree that, but I feel like we learned so much and we gained
Oh,
so much through the whole process, that's what I think it was really about.
yeah, I think I know I learned a lot, but part of that was I lost my mother in February of 2020, right before COVID hit. I mean, it was
Hmm.
like the month before, and
Hmm.
I was still reeling, and then COVID hit, and it's like
Hmm.
my life has been a bit surreal ever since then.
Yeah.
Because I really started getting into the witchery, and just being here in this big huge place by myself, and
Mhm.
just really getting in touch with my inner self, and
Yeah.
doing that internal work, because I think that's the place to start for everyone. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people want to skip that step, but you really can't.
No, you can't. And I do think that religion has really messed that up because we're taught that you've got to compartmentalize the darkness. Darkness is
Yes.
bad and it's evil. And so we've really just created more trauma because we take these things that happen to us and we stick them farther down and shove them farther and farther in. And then we don't think that it's okay to access that darkness and to let it go. But
Yeah.
all it really
Right.
takes, shining the light on it,
Mhm.
revisiting that time when you had that trauma and sending love to yourself as that child. You know,
Yep.
these are super simple ways to just shine the light on those areas
Right.
and not be afraid of the darkness anymore.
Yeah. I think people struggle with self love and self worth a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
especially in our society, because we're, I think, told more often than not that we're not quite good enough. We're just not good
Yeah.
enough, and we'll probably never, hit that mark, and we're just never going to be worthy of that.
Yep.
And especially women, a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
I think we're discouraged from even trying to be, like shooting for greatness. I think
Right.
we're discouraged in that, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just a little.
go back to the kitchen now, honey. What are
Yeah.
you thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That
couldn't.
then.
I felt like I had to like take on that role of submissive mate,
Mhm.
and and I had to be that person, but I really wasn't that person, you know.
Right.
I felt like I was told I had to fit in the mold, and that's it.
Right.
So if you
Yeah.
want us to all be happy and proud, you better fit in that mold.
Right.
Of course, I
Yep.
don't.
And yeah. No. And that's like that's traumatic. Like we're still healing from those things, and so like even and like my husband, even though we were like very strict religious, he generally included me all in the decisions and stuff, right? And we
Mhm.
had that good relationship. But what I'm really glad of is that we're now able to like to stop that whole barrage of um what does a woman supposed to be, or what's a woman supposed to look like, or how she's supposed to act. And now our kids are just free to express who they truly are. So guess
That's
what? We
nice.
we stopped all that DNA and all that ancestral stuff,
Yeah.
and now we're healing behind us and we're healing in front of us. And that's what
Yeah.
every person's doing when they do that.
Yeah. You broke the cycle. Good for you
Mm-hmm.
guys. So then the next generation doesn't have to pay for the mistakes of the one before.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's awesome. Good job. I can't. Your little people must be so amazing.
They are. I love my kids to death. We're just more like friends. We're just like best friends.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
yeah,
It is nice, and it's good to have that open communication with them. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mine's
It really is.
21 now, so she doesn't really ask for much. Not
Right.
even advice really, because she's a Taurus and
Oh gosh.
got it going on.
Yeah.
She is really steady. I mean, she was the mother to her friends. Like,
Right.
oh, if they drank too much, she'd hold their hair and pat their face with a washcloth.
Right.
And, yeah, she take care of them and stuff, and make sure they didn't drive, and all
Right.
that stuff. She was just the mother hen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yep.
felt like I did my job. Now
It
it's
sounds
on.
like you did a great job.
Yeah, now it's on to witchery.
Yeah.
Witchery and dominatrix.
There you
I don't
go.
know, did you know I'm that's how come I'm called madam, because there's so many mistresses but only one madam, so
Oh, that's
Madam
very
Mayhem.
true. Yeah.
My house is the house of mayhem. It's Mayhem Manor, and then I got the she shop out here because she's in charge, not he.
Okay.
Yeah. So we kind of made up a story about the whole place and everything, and yeah, the BDSM stuff is pretty interesting. I dig rope bondage. I like to tie people up.
Oh,
So yeah, it's fun and it's relaxing for them because they can just like meditate or just get comfortable, because what else are they going to do?
right.
Which I don't. So and I got it from being an equestrian when I was
Right.
a kid. Oh, we made rope bridles and just everything out of
Yeah.
rope, and you'd head out.
Yeah.
Did you ever ride?
Not really. We had a
No.
couple horses growing up, but my mom was so afraid of we were never allowed to get on them. So I was sad
Oh.
because I really wanted to, but
That's the fun part.
yeah, right? I was
Yeah,
really
riding
afraid.
them around. That's the fun part.
Right.
Yeah, I drove carriage too for 12 years professionally. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm pretty pretty good with horses.
Cool.
They're
Horse-
interesting animals.
Yeah. They're
Do you have
pretty cool.
pets? Or do you have a familiar?
Well, okay, so let's start with we have 5 cats,
Oh,
3 black cats, 1 tiger, and 1 that's every color. But the tiger is my familiar.
okay.
He
Is
actually
he like an orange tiger cat?
no, he's a gray tiger, and he's got a white spot right here on his chest. But he so literally like my totem animal is a
Mhm.
tiger.
Oh,
So I have my actual spirit animal is a tiger, but then
Mhm.
my cat, I've actually been told by an animal communicator that he's a very strong spirit who has come here just to help me. Like, he's given me ideas, he's given me wisdom and stuff like that. So that's my
Yeah.
Perry. He's a big fat cat. He's beautiful.
Yeah, my Bob. You know, you can see Bob in lots of places. He's on Facebook. He's on, you know, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
And Bob, I manifested Bob.
Hmm.
He came when I needed him, and you know, I was petting this little stuffed cat, and then there was Bob. He looked exactly like the stuffed cat that I had been holding and contemplating about getting a cat.
Oh,
And I manifested Bob. For
yep.
sure. Yeah. I even said out loud, hey Jack, I'd like a kitty for Christmas. And he's like, well, I'm not going to buy a cat. And I said, well, I didn't ask you to. I said, I just want a cat for Christmas. So, and then 2 days before Christmas, here come Bob. And he's been with me ever since. I have no idea of his backstory. So we make up all kinds of stuff about him.
Right.
Like he was with the Mexican mafia for a while. You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think he's a Teamster in Chicago. So
Probably
know.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows some rough characters, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of how my cat came, because like my daughter, she says, you need a gray cat. I was like, for one, your dad's not going to let us get another cat. We don't really need another cat. And then I saw that the pound was having free kittens.
Oh.
So we went over, and there he was. I mean, one of my kids said, oh, look at him. I grabbed him. He was scrawny as hell.
Oh.
And he didn't even have all his hair, because his whole litter had ringworm. And they were just getting all their hair back. And he laid on my chest here, and he started purring.
Oh,
And
I love that.
I didn't let him go from then on. I just knew that he was the one.
I love the purr. That's the thing about the cat, you know.
Yeah.
It's when they sit on your lap and you pet them, and it's the purr. You know?
Yep, absolutely.
Because I was petting fake Bob and no purr, and it just wasn't the
Right.
same.
No, it's not. No, but you know, they say that the cats, like their purring actually heals your bones.
Really? It's a vibration, probably.
Yeah. So like there's different Olympic teams that they have machines that put out the same frequency as cat purrs.
Oh, wow.
And they play it for their team.
Well, I think it'd be calming anyway, you know.
Yeah.
It is sort of a calming vibration.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I always think it's not a home without a cat, you know.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. And well,
So
yeah,
you have 5 cats, you said?
5.
Yeah, and what else do you have?
No, that's all we have. We just have the 5 cats. Yep.
Yeah, I have a cat and a dog, so
yeah.
The dog kind of takes back seat to the cat, though.
Yeah, we're just totally cat people here.
Yeah.
It is, well, of course, you know, like even my kids act like they're not witchy, but they are. They've got all their gifts and they've got all that stuff. They just don't like to admit it.
Yeah. Do you have any gifts, like can you speak to spirits, or can you do you do divination or anything like that?
Well, you know, when I'm doing readings and healings with people, you know, different spirits come through. Now, I don't do a lot of like channeling of people who have passed on.
Uh-huh.
But when they do come through, I am able to kind of get the messages. Mostly what I do, so I'm very clairvoyant, I'm clairsentient, I also hear messages, but what I do,
it's sentiosent. Oh, no.
Clairsentient is feeling, clairvoyance is seeing, clairolfactance is smelling, clairgustance is tasting. What's the hearing? Oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, I'm having a brain fart too. Here,
yeah.
let me go.
But we know it's a clair.
Yeah.
So
I just read this the other day, and I was like, that's why I was like, oh yeah, what do they call that?
Yeah, clairaudience.
Oh, yeah. Clairaudience. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So what I do a lot is I channel what the spirit is saying needs done. or specific messages. And then my light language is I don't usually speak light language, which is basically like the different tongues, right, that come through.
Mhm.
I do that at some, but mostly I just like my guides will show me to like build something. So a lot of times I'm building like a sacred container to go into your chest so that like the goddess can feel her energy there. Then then they just tell me, we'll just tell them that when that gets starting to get really low, then I'm just going to fill it back up again.
Mhm.
Right. So like I build a lot of things with my hands and in different dimensions for people. That's
Mhm.
one of my gifts. And I think that's I don't know, I
find
just
that
have a
the
little
different dimensions so interesting.
Mhm.
It's just fascinating,
Yeah.
and just that the fact that spirits are everywhere, all around you,
Oh
and you
yeah.
just don't know. They're just there, though.
Yeah. But
I've had people be like scared of it, and I said, "But they're always there, all around you. There's nothing to be scared of,
oh,
And
but there's all these movies that teach us to be scared,
right, and
right?
and
And then
it's sort of a fallacy, really.
well it is, but like I do know that people have had like scary experiences because they were able to see and they were just a
Mhm.
child. And
Yeah.
then, the neighbor dies. And next thing you know, she shows up at the foot of their bed and it scares the
Uh-huh.
hell out of them. And of course, their parents are like, well, you're making it up because that's not real. I
Yeah.
mean, it can be traumatic. And a lot of people shut their gifts off then because they're like, I can't deal with that. I don't know how to deal with that.
Do you think that the spirits are like they just give them what they expect, or do you think it's like, well, and somebody was saying that if you were a shitty person in life, you're going to be a shitty spirit. You're not going to be friendly just because you crossed over. Now you're a spirit. You're still going to be a crabby individual.
Yeah. Well, see, I have a couple different feelings about that because as I help a lot of souls cross over who are stuck here, like they get in
Mhm.
limbo, right? Like if it
Uh-huh.
was a suicide or they were murdered or they
Mhm.
have unfinished business,
Right.
they can get stuck and
Uh-huh.
they can like go mad. I
Yeah.
I've had them attached to me where they didn't even know they were dead. Right. And they
Yeah.
think they're living life and they just got to keep moving. And those kind of things, there are some that they can feel very scary
Yeah.
and their energy is very like wild.
Yeah.
But they all just need released back to the light, right? Like nobody deserves to be punished,
Right.
and so
How did you
like
recognize that they were like attached to you?
well, I was like really tired. And so a lot of us we astral travel at night. Like we leave 3D, we go to 4D, we're off fighting battles or visiting people, healing people, just visiting our friends across the world. Well, I had a friend in Australia and we were just like chat. We were both kind of trying to figure out our gifts. And she said she had a dream one night that she was in my house and she saw my table and then she went to neighbors and was helping someone in a sports clinic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, that's weird. Well, then I showed her my table. She's like, yeah, that's the exact table I saw.
Oh
And so
wow.
then she said this being started talking to her and he was the guy in her dream that she had got taken to my neighbors.
Uh-huh.
And we had recently gone to Colorado and while we were there, I picked up this teenager. I think he played football and he
Mm-hmm.
had died and he didn't even know he was dead.
Oh wow.
And when my friend Astro visited, he left me and he went to her.
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking to her saying, well, I want to go do this and that. And she's like, no, you're dead. You got to realize that you're dead. Like you can't do all these things. And he
Uh-huh.
wouldn't believe her.
Wow.
So I felt really bad because I had passed off this guy and attaching to my friend, exhausting her. And
Oh
so
wow.
I closed my eyes and I said to my guides, what am I supposed to do? And next thing I know, a white winged Pegasus came in. And I said to her, I'm like, I have no idea what this means, but you're supposed to call in a white Pegasus.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as she did, the Pegasus came in. The guy looked at the Pegasus, totally lost interest in her, went over, was petting it, climbed on its back, and went to the light.
Took off. Oh, that's so
Just like
great.
that. So I tell people all the time, if you know that you astral travel, if you get really tired around 2 or 3 o'clock every day, these are
Uh-huh.
signs that you're picking up lost souls. And they pick up on us because they know that we're spiritual. They know we can help them into the light. Then they suck off of our energy, not meaning to, but that's just
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah. And
So
then, yeah, you feel drained and stuff, right?
yeah, and so that's just a really good way to help souls off to the light. Now, we have found that if you're working with someone who committed suicide
Uh huh.
and they're feeling a lot of guilt,
Uh huh.
you have to call in a dragon
Okay.
because dragons can so Pegasus are very angelic, higher vibrations. Dragons can come in and clear a lot more dense energy.
Uh huh.
And so that's what we do when someone's dealing with a spirit like that. That's they don't deserve to go to the light. They've been
Yeah.
so horrible. I don't deserve that. And the dragons can take them to the light.
Yeah. Emerus, one of our skeleton key witches, he has a show, and it's about like dragons. And I did a show with him on mermaids and
Mhm.
sirens, and kelpies, and just different mythical characters,
Mm-hmm.
creatures. What do they call that? It's zoo something. I don't remember the name for it. Where it's like you're the mythical animals, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a podcast that he's doing with the mythical animals. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty interesting.
It is. And the fact
Yeah.
is that they're all real.
Yeah.
They're
They're
real.
mythical, but
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I mean, the myths came from somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a lot of lore is based in truth, I think. And
Yeah.
but because we become so skeptical and so earthbound,
Yeah.
we don't believe in magic. People don't believe in it anymore. And even though it can happen and it's real,
Mm-hmm.
the universe is a vast and strange place. And
It is.
anything at all can happen. Anything at all can be possible. I mean, look at
Yep.
you. I mean, a few years ago, you were not thinking that this happy life was going to be yours.
Mm-hmm.
You were hoping, and you were, had some faith. But
Right.
things weren't great, and you just had to muscle through it and keep believing and keep working towards your dreams, and you made them happen. And I'm so happy
Yep.
for you. I really
Well,
am.
thank you.
So,
Yeah, we're very excited.
would you care to have another reading?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, this is only for entertainment purposes. I have to say. I mean, I'm not. I've been doing it for over a year, and I still feel like I'm just a newbie.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to learn with this, and
Yeah.
you gotta connect with the cards, and just kind of, make them your own. That takes a little time, and I still
Yeah.
have to learn the book. So let's see. I have to have the glosses. There we go. And I have to have them on the nose because I got to see over them,
Uh-huh.
Get too far away with that. So, all right. And then I'll just do a 3-card spread. Ooh, Ace of Wands for your recent past. 5, 6, 7, 8 of Swords for your present. And reversed, let's see, 5, 6, and 8 of Cups for your future. So let's see here. Ace of Wands is a nice card, and that is back here. And I still look at the book. Oh, here we go. It is. It's the gift of new beginnings. Hey, and you
Ooh.
got a new house, right?
Yep.
It brings flashes of inspiration that guide you toward beginning a new adventure. May manifest as creating a new project, traveling, or beginning a relationship, or starting a business. Are you thinking of starting a business?
Oh, yeah, I've got a business going and I just got my book published, so I'm on the way.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of a new thing. Yeah, excellent. And then let's see. With the hubby, it says You may sense increased or reignited passion, possibly leading you towards starting a family or expanding your current one. Oh, I don't know. Exciting opportunities within your romance are on their way.
Good.
And then let's see. Oh, here we go. It heralds an exciting, inspiring opportunity to expand your business or start a new endeavor. And you're feeling increased creative enthusiasm for your work.
Nice.
And it's opening new doors for you for wealth. So
Oh.
keep an eye out for that, for opportunities to monetize.
Right.
And then let's see. When travel and adventure opportunities present, embrace them. Alrighty. And so then the next one is 8 of Swords. She doesn't look like she's very happy, though, The swords,
Yeah.
I'm a little torn on the swords.
Yeah. I don't feel good. I don't feel good
they
about
don't
the
look
swords.
happy.
No.
Usually there's knives sticking out of them. But this one, there's that one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this one is, let's see. It indicates you're feeling stuck by circumstance or the past or your own internal fears. Not fitting in or being unable to express yourself freely. You may find yourself making excuses for why you can't move forward or holding on to something, feeling powerless to spark change. And so start taking small steps towards your desire, have faith, and be patient with yourself. So if you feel stuck, don't get upset. Just be patient. Things will come around.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then let's see. You're working a job. Oh, it says you don't love, but I don't think that's true. Is it?
Oh, no, I like my job, but sometimes I don't feel fulfilled in it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Remember, you aren't alone. Ask the divine for guidance towards steps to take to release yourself from things that are not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see. So it's kind of you're feeling like stifled, stuck, maybe a little bit in some project that you're working on.
Yep.
And then let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8 of Cups reversed. 8 of Cups reversed. Cups always think of like love, but it's not always. Here we go. And reversed. A gentle reminder that you've stayed at a job or situation longer than necessary. Perhaps you fear change, but now's the time to walk away. There's something better for you, so trust in the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that'll be helpful for you down the road. And,
Yeah.
some of those things will actually, come to fruition, because then that means that I'm getting better at reading cards.
Well, they seem pretty accurate to me. Like, the past and then the present. And then I know that I'm just being pushed forward into the unknown, right? We'll never get anywhere if we don't move forward. So.
Well, yeah, and I think that it's always the unknown, and we have to start to feel comfortable with not knowing. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, and I'm okay with it. Because otherwise you worry yourself to death, And the thing is with worry, you're worrying about stuff that never happened yet, and you're wasting all that energy on things that you could have done for betterment of yourself and your family.
Exactly.
So yeah, worry's a wasted energy,
It is.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll straighten itself out, or it'll come to fruition, or it'll do its thing tomorrow.
Exactly.
Procrastinators unite tomorrow.
That's right.
Are you a procrastinator?
Sometimes. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. I put off stuff till like the last minute, and then I'm
it's a rush.
Around. Yeah, and it's crunch time. But that's when I'm at my best, I think, is when it's crunch time.
Oh, I get it.
Go,
Yeah, I totally get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you really heighten your abilities, because it's like, you got to make this happen.
Yes, exactly.
That with my degree too, with school and everything. So. Yeah. But anyway, I'm so happy for you. And what was the name of your podcast again, and where can we watch it?
It's called Galactic Guidance, and it's on Anchor. It's just it's just an audio podcast.
Okay.
So,
And it's
yep.
on Anchor.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Well, then everyone should tune in and check out Nellie's podcast. Or, I mean, is it a podcast if it's just audio? Or I think
Yeah.
these are podcasts because they're video.
Well, yeah, I mean, the podcasts usually were just audio, and then I've noticed they're bringing out the video ones.
Yeah.
So everything's like turning into something different. So
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I kind of like this this format, where you can sit and share ideas and talk to people, and
Right.
and have an audience so that maybe you can share to even more people.
Yep.
So, well, thank you so much for being here. It's been a
Yep.
pleasure.
Well, thank you.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And I hope I talk to you again soon. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody. It's been wonderful, and glad to see you again. And I will be here. I will be back Wednesday, not Thursday this week. I'll be on at 10 o'clock Wednesday night with Madam After Dark. And of course, I never know what's going to happen there. And some of it is just enjoying the surprise of what's going to come. So it's probably going to involve bondage, though. Count on it. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and much love. Oh, wait a minute. Much love. And blessed be.